Hello, my name is Dr. Christine Kozachuk, and I want to take this time to thank the World Organization of Natural Medicine for inviting me to speak as a part of the UN's goals on academic impact. And before I get into my presentation, what I want to share with you is a little about me. I am a sustainable life literacy expert. I am a global advocate for her right for freedom and equity for females worldwide, and I'm also an international published author. I am the CEO and founder of Every Girls Wins Institute. Every Girl Wins Institute is the world's largest sustainable life literacy organization and civility culture of honor in the world. We are currently in 26 countries. We also have a Her Right initiative, which I am the founder of. Our mission is to stand to achieve legal and systemic change that addresses her rights for freedom and equity worldwide. I also founded a proclaimed day on March the 13th of International Every Girl Wins Day. It was created to inspire the world to accept all females as an equal, to stand as one, to celebrate our most significant asset, which is our femalehood. And on that day, I have currently celebrated sheroes of the world, of basically around 300 women and girls that we have been able to celebrate on that day. A little bit more about me. I am very humbled. And as you hear my presentation, you'll hear my story a little bit more, and you will know why I am so humbled because I wasn't supposed to be succeeding in the way that I have succeeded in life. I am humbled to say that in 2021, I have received the Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award, and also in 2022, the New York Assembly Citation Martin Luther King Community Outstanding Service Award. And also in 2019, I received an honorary doctorate of philosophy and humanities from the United Graduate College and Seminary International for my service for girls and women in the world. Now, I want to start with my story of how I became the leader that I am today. And no, I'm not ashamed to say that I'm a leader in this world because I know that I am. Now, many people say that you were born a leader or you were taught leadership. So, as I go through my presentation, just think about that. Some people say that they're natural born leaders, and some people were taught leadership. But when I was 13 years old, I became pregnant in a very small town of around 700 people in a community that criticized me and told me that I would be nobody because I had ruined my life by becoming pregnant at the age of 13. I went on at the age of 14 and married his father. I went on with him and had two more children with him by the time that I was 18 years old. But in between that time, we lived in poverty. I was domestically abused physically and mentally every single day. The night that I actually left him, I was literally on death doors. And I kept praying to God to please take me that day. But I turned around and I saw my three children just screaming and crying. And God gave me the strength to get up, to pick my three children up and walk out that door to never look back again. When I walked out that door, I walked out that door with no education, no money, no transportation, and we had no clothes and we had nowhere to go because at that time we had moved from one state where my family was to another state for employment opportunities. And when we did do that, we just, didn't realize what was going on. When we walked out, I knew at that time that I was a born leader. I had to lead not just myself, I had to lead my children out of the circumstances that we were currently in. So I went back to school, received my GED, took some community college courses to better myself. At that time, I met an amazing man that I'm currently married to now. We've been together for 32 years. In between that time, what he and I decided to do was to start a business because he was working a job as a mechanic, a minimum wage job, and I was working a job in an office, minimum wage pay. We decided to open up our truck repair company, and when we did, because we were so poor, we literally bought a truck from the junkyard for $50. And out of that $50, we created a business that now makes us over six-figure income. We started that business in 1995, and in year 2000, he and I both were blessed enough because we worked our jobs full time and worked that part time to quit our jobs, and we've never looked back to working with anybody ever again. But what I learned through that process as being a leader is, communication. I had to communicate with my husband of what we needed to do, how we had to better our families' lives, how we had to trust each other in knowing that we were making the right decisions. Because he and I were living, you had $5 and it was a Thursday night and your children needed breakfast, but you needed gas to get to work to get the paycheck. So that's how we were living, at that time. And many people still live at that, like that right now. So one thing I will say is take a chance on yourself. Take a chance on yourself, trust yourself. And if you have a partner that you're going to partner with, communicate with them and listen to them of what they have to say also with building whatever you're going to build to better your family's lives. So we currently still to this day, 28 years later, still own our truck repair company here in the city of Charlotte. Now, after that, what I had done as a leader is I had taken a position with eWomen Network. eWomen Network is one of the largest international organizations for networking for women around the world. And when I took that position, what I learned was there's many leadership types. And I had to learn to work with different leadership types. I had to learn to listen to them. I had to learn to communicate with them. I had to learn to listen to them in order to understand what their business was, what they needed to grow their business through our network organization. I had to learn to communicate with them. And communication is two ways. You communicate with them through, just sitting and talking to them. Communicating is just sitting and watching them in the networking organization, and as a leader, showing them how to better network as a leader for their business. And what I also learned was empathy. Empathy is huge. And I never realized this before until I started working with the organization, because I had to sit and not listen just with my ears. I also had to sit and listen with my heart, because many of these women are in the same way that my husband and I was, working full-time jobs, and this was their part-time. So I had to sit and listen and be empathetic with them to understand who they were and what they were needing. So I was listening to them with my ears, but yes, I was also listening to them with my heart to help them not only build my business, but also build their business. And sometimes as leaders, that's where we get stuck, is the empathy part. We really have to sit and listen to people to understand what they're telling us. And another thing with listening and communication is a lot of times body language. We have to sit and watch people's body language, because they may be telling you one thing, but their body language is telling you another one. So as a leader, you also need to know the body language of people. Is what they're saying positive? If there is their body language, compared to the words that's coming out of their mouth, is positive or negative? So we have to really watch people's body languages also, besides being empathetic with them. Now, the next leadership role that I have played is Every Girl Wins Institute. As a humanitarian service organization, I'm empowering females and helping them job equip girls and women with the right mindset. With my story, if you heard earlier, me 13, pregnant, marrying my husband at 14, through a domestic violence till I left him, and two more children with him by the time that I was 18 years old. What I knew my whole entire life is that I had the heart for the disenfranchised. But little did I know that a curriculum will come out of it, and what I've been through and learned as a leader. Because there's a lot of times, if you look back, there's things that's happened in your life that has caused you to be doing what you are now. And I thank God every single day. He has given me the ability to do what I do with Every Girl Wins, to ensure that every girl wins in this world, because every person in this world has value. They have value, and as a leader, you have to know that the value in people. Everybody has value, no matter what they have done in this world, no matter what they have said in this world, they have value. They have a reason for being on this earth, and they have value to you and me and everyone else in this world. You know, many things that I learned was, again, I'm going to go back to a natural born leader or taught leadership. And what I feel is I was both. I was born a leader and I was taught leadership. But taught leadership for me wasn't taught in a classroom. What I was taught was through the stages of my life that I had went through in my life. As for example, my first story that I told you about, being pregnant at 13 and leaving my ex-husband with no money, no transportation, no education, no clothes, no family, no nothing. What I learned is I had to trust. I had to not just trust myself, but I had to trust others around me to help me. And because when you're being abused in that way, it's really hard for that trust. So that was something that I really had to work on, was trusting not just myself, but others, that they had a good heart and that they was going to help myself and my children. And then communication. With the communication is very key. Dialogue, civil dialogue is key to not just business, but it's key to your personal life. It's key to your partner. It's your partner, your family, your kids, your mother, your aunts, your uncles, your nephews, your friends. It's key to everything that goes on in this world is communication. It can cause wars, or it can cause friendships. As leaders, which do you choose? I choose friendship. I choose to be, communicating in a civil dialogue and not yelling and hollering at each other. And the other one, is just listening. That's one thing that we as humans sometimes have a hard time at doing, is actually listening to the person that is speaking. We have a really hard time with that. And then with listening, if you're not communicating, it's really hard to listen to what is being said because no one is communicating. So listening in this world has got to be a practice that we got to continue practicing, listening to someone. We have to put the phones down. We have to put the computers up. We have to sit at the dinner tables and really listen and communicate with our families and when we're at business. And sitting at the table with leaders at your table, your employees, your coworkers, you have to sit and really listen in order to communicate. Don't assume that others what they're saying. Really listen and read between the lines of what they're actually saying. And again, when I was talking earlier about body language, watch the body language as you're communicating. Because if you're not listening correctly, what they're communicating to you, their body language is going to show it, guaranteed. And the last one, and I don't think this should be the last. I think this, is a bundle that I feel like they all need to be number ones is empathy. One of the presenters, which is Dr. Clyde Rivers, he talks about human value. And human value goes to me, it goes with empathy. We have to value what people are saying to you. We have to listen with our heart, not just with our ears. We have to listen to them to understand what they're saying to us, to value them, because everyone in this world has human value. I have value. Dr. Clyde Rivers has value. Dr. Sheila McKenzie has value. My husband has value. Every person, even people in jail, have value. Everybody, anybody that's living on the street, they have value. Anybody that lives on this earth has value. We just have to be empathetic with those people and show them their value if they don't know it. Because we have to know that they have value through empathy and really listening to people because they all have human value. And this combination of trust, communication, listening, empathy, human value, body language, all this has allowed me to build my organization to be one of the largest sustainable life literacy organization and culture of honor organization in the world in 26 countries. 26 countries. And with that bundle, that's how I have become the leader that I am. Yes, again, I was born a leader, but also through life, I've been taught my leadership. And that's why with Every Girl Wins Institute, I teach the girls how to be great leaders, not just, as a mom or as a daughter or as a student or anything like that. I teach them to be great leaders to create their own economy. Because if they can create their own economy and they can lead their own economy, they can create the dreams that they deserve, just as I had. And my thing is, if I can do it, so can anyone else out there. And that's another thing. I'm going to go back to human value is that you have to value yourself. You have to value yourself in order to know who you are. And if you're teaching, you have to value yourself in order to teach others the leader that they are and the value that they have in them. So look at the human value. Be empathetic. Listen. Communicate. Trust. And get a book. If you don't know body language, get a book on body language on how to read people. Because body language is not for just for the criminal courts. It's also for your family. It's also for business. So body language is very key to being a leader. Another thing about being a great leader is, take the advice of the others that are around you in your team. Because you may have a great idea, but they may have a better idea. So if you combine them together and really listen to them and communicate with them, you will come to find out that it could turn out much better than you expected it. But, lift them as you climb also. Lifting as you climb is huge as a leader. I would rather see someone else prosper of getting an award or being on stage or getting recognized than myself, because I'm going to applaud them all the way because I know what value they have. And that's us as great leaders. Lift others as you climb. So I want to take this time again to thank the World Organization of Natural Medicine for letting me speak. And I want to thank everyone that has allowed me to come in and speak and has believed in me as a leader. And what I wanted you to do is, I want you to think again, are you a natural born leader or taught leadership? But both are okay. Thank you. I am Dr. Christine Kozachuk, CEO and founder of Every Girl Wins Institute.